Hey guys, it's Kim from Dodges and Daisies. Welcome back to my channel, or if it's your first time, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing something different, and that's talking about Patreon mail. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that a lot of times I will post the envelopes and the little folders that are in my Patreon mail, but I don't think I've ever really gone into detail of like what's inside them before. Most people know that it's a combination of mostly vintage and just a couple of modern stationery pieces, but vintage is my true love, and I really love to pack these packs out with vintage goodies. And because of health issues, I'm actually taking a break from Patreon for the summer. I am pausing it for July and August, so June will be my last month sending it out before September. So I just thought it would be just kind of fun, because I am taking this break, this like pause in it, to show you guys just some of the things that actually go into these packs. I found these really beautiful vintage cards. If you watched my Long Island haul, you could see, I think I showed them, but they were these ships and they came in both red and green. And previously I had found these really beautiful duck playing cards. Playing cards are just, like I've mentioned before, one of my favorite things to both collect and craft with, and also share when I make up my ephemera packs. So I just thought that, I don't know if I mentioned this before, June was going to be like a very nautical, beachy, like summer theme. So everything in the June pack is like a nautical themed ephemera. As you saw before, I just kind of flipped through without really explaining. These are the envelopes this month. I have different tiers of Patreon. The Daisy tier is the snail mail tier. So it's like you get a snail mail from me like you would if I was like your pen pal or something like that. I always stuff it full of ephemera, and this month, like I said, the theme is like a nautical theme for summer. So those were the envelopes. It's been a while since I've made what I like to call fish mail. It's not something I've done in a while, but yeah, it's one of my favorite things to make. It's one of my favorite themes. I love combining it with like old maps. This was from like a really old atlas. I also have from this book, it's called A Guide to Field Identification, Seashells of North America. It's a golden field guide. I've mentioned these before. If you can find these books, they are stock full of really, really beautiful, bright, colorful pages. They're really great if you fussy cut, to cut out to put in your journals or on your mail. So always keep an eye open for these. I am including a bunch of these in each person's pack. I think 3 pages each, if I remember right. So they're all different, but you know, I try to kind of make sure everyone gets like, you know, say like one that looks like this or like something similar. But each person will be getting 3 pages of these, which they're just, like I said, they're really beautiful. They're really high quality pages. They're color, they're vintage. They're great for fussy cutting. If anyone does like a lake or a beach over the summer, or really any time of year, these would be great for that. It's called Freshwater Fish, a guidebook illustrated in color. This was something I got, I believe, from Michelle from Tape and Twine Vintage. This is like one of my favorite little books ever. Most of these I think I'm going to keep for my own crafting, just because it's really my style. I can see myself using these in my journal a lot, but I am giving everybody one of these pages. Not only do I think the illustrations are really fun, but I just kind of love the entire look of the page. I like how I just like the font on these. I like the edging. I like just how vintage they look. I believe this book is a bit older than the other books that I used. And I just think in a junk journal, these would just look awesome. I can totally just see these used in journaling, and that would be really fun. This book is called All the Water Birds. I usually do include birds in my mail, so having bird pages is something that I normally stick in, or I'll fussy cut and put birds in my packs as well. I like this particular book. This was from Michelle as well, because it was all the water birds, and it was just specific to birds you would find by the water. So there's, you know, like a lot of ducks, like sandpipers, just kind of birds like that. And everyone's going to be getting 2 of these, one kind of sandpipery, one kind of duck or goose. And I just thought that was really cute to add to a nautical pack as well. The next 3 things are also from books. This book I got the last time we were on Long Island. It's called Van Nostrand's, I think that's how you say it, Standard Catalog of Shells. It is a first edition. This book is just really kind of beat up in an absolutely wonderful way, like the most perfect way a vintage book could be beat up. And again, this is one I know that I'm going to save for myself a lot. You know, whenever we go home to Long Island, there is definitely a nautical beachy theme to my journals, so this book is definitely going to be used in my own journaling. And I just really love like how antique it looks, the sketches, and I also really kind of like nature things that are a bit like a sciencey journal look to them. I just think that's kind of a cool page. So yeah, they're actually getting a lot of these. I think everybody's getting 3 pages of this one, but maybe 4. Because I did put some with just wording in. I always like to put in like a background collage page because I know not everyone has those. But then, you know, everyone's going to be getting these with the shells on them too. I just thought they were really pretty and really special. The reason I didn't fussy cut the shells out was because I never really know what people are going to use ephemera for. So having the full page, they can either fussy cut these shells themselves, or they can like fold this and use it as like a page in a junk journal that they make, or as a background collage page. I just feel like there's more options with the full pages. So a lot of times I will use just include the full page in there. The next book we have is A Guide to Fresh and Saltwater Fishing. It's a golden handbook. Again, guys, whenever you see these, if I could suggest just grabbing them. They are always full of just really, really beautiful pictures and illustrations, and usually every single page. I have a lot of these, you know, for birds or trees or different things like that. I use them up so quickly. So everyone is going to be getting fish. These are the same illustrations that I used on my envelopes. So all of the fish that I cut out for the envelopes were actually from this book. And people are going to be getting a combination of a fish page, which I find really useful in my crafting. And then these are just some like fishing pages. I mean, I don't fish, and I'm not really sure if any of my Patreon people fish, but it was kind of supposed to be like a summer vacation nautical theme to the pack, so I just kind of thought that was kind of cute. There's like different fishing lines, and you know, maybe people go fishing with their families, or you know, maybe it's something they enjoy or a family member enjoys, so I thought that was kind of a cute little addition to the pack. This is something a little different. If you did see my New York haul, I found Here's What's Cooking. They are current recipe cards from the 1970s. I absolutely loved the style of these. The 1970s illustrations I thought were so cute. And what I did was I just picked out the fish ones because there's a bunch of different designs in there. And I just thought, how adorable is that? Like a 1970s recipe card. And since everything is kind of fish and beach and fishing and seashell related, like this is kind of what you would do for like a fish recipe. I just thought that went really well and was really adorable to include with everything else. The last thing I'm going to share is that I do always stick in vintage postcards. So what I did, everyone's gonna be getting 4. Normally they get 2, so there's a lot more that I normally am doing in this pack. Like I said, because I took a break, I kind of just wanted to spoil people a little bit. So I had separated just all of my vintage postcards that were like either lake or beach or boat or like vacation themed. And you know, these postcards kind of range in like year. Most of these, I would say, that I set aside were from like the 1960s. A lot of them are dated, but a lot of them are from like, I'd say like the 1950s through 1970s. Some are a little earlier. Nothing past the 70s though. I don't tend to get into ephemera that's more modern, so I just thought like these looked really cute. And I use old postcards constantly, but this is just really fun. But so everyone's going to be getting 4 of these. Some are not written on, so they could actually send them to somebody if they wanted to. Some of them are written on. These I tend to find to make great little like journal tuck spots if you're a junk journaler, or tags, or even the blank ones if you want to use them like I do. Write your own journaling on the back, do a little decoration, and then tuck that into a journal space. I just think these are really versatile. You can collage with them, you can use them as tags, you can use them as secret journaling spots. So I gave everybody a really good amount of like nautical themed vintage postcards. Lastly, I am going to just be including some blue stamps. I never include vintage stamps as part of like the 25 items that people get. Instead, I just kind of throw them in as like little extras. But I know that when I do kind of like a nautical or beach collage, I use blue stamps a lot. So what I did was I just went through my vintage stamps and just took out a bunch of like different blues, and I'll probably include like 3 or 4 in each pack. And like I said, those aren't counted toward the 25 items. They're just kind of things that I stick in for fun, just to kind of give people like a little extra something to play with. So these are the packs. I've already started them. I normally do like background pages like I explained to you guys before. These are specific background pages. They're from one of the nautical books. So not only is it a collage page like I normally include, but it's kind of like a nod just to everything. I think these were from the Seashell books. There's a couple of pieces of just like bluish paper, just to match like the water theme, and then just a tag, the green tag. I thought just kind of matched everything pretty well. But each folder is collaged with stamps and with fish. I actually made sure each of the stamps, like this is a Coast Guard stamp, that's a coast stamp, this is like a naval aviation stamp, that's a boat, this is like the Great Lakes. So each one was kind of really thought out. This is NATO and another boat. These, like I said, the maps are from a really, really old atlas. I was really lucky enough to find one in a thrift store in the mountains of North Carolina, and I grabbed it because the maps were just beautiful. I really love old maps, and I love how they look in collage. Again, the fish were from that fish book that I shared before, and the stamps are vintage. So I've already started packing these, and we just have kind of like our basics so far. But like I said, everyone's going to be getting 1, 2, 3, 4 postcards, so we can kind of start packing. I always kind of count as I go, just to make sure, you know, I'm putting the right amount in everybody's. And normally I actually like write people's names on the packages that I'm making, because I try to think like if I know my patrons, like what their personalities would kind of like best. Like Christine lives in Hawaii, so if I have something that's a little bit more, you know, like this or this, that's just kind of a little bit more Hawaiian looking like that, I'll usually stick that in her pack because I'll think maybe, you know, she'll use it more than somebody else would. I don't know, like I just try to kind of keep in mind people's personalities when I do this, but I got quite a lot of people that signed up for Patreon this month, and I actually wasn't able to kind of specifically tailor it to each person just because there were so many. And but everybody always gets like identical packets anyway, so hopefully everybody will like the little grab bag they get. It's always a surprise, and yeah, it's just something I enjoy doing a lot. So I'm a little sad that I'm having to shut it down, but you know, it's just one of those things. It's just going to be a break, not a permanent shutdown. I fully plan on reopening in September. So as a lot of you know, if you've been following me on Instagram or even on here, I've kind of mentioned it. My health has just gotten to the point where I'm just not really functional anymore. Every day I deal with quite a lot of chronic fatigue and quite a lot of pain, and it's gotten to the point where it's been really difficult for me to get out of bed, even to do simple things like eat meals. I've been like eating on a tray in my bed, and there's a lot of days like I can't get up and do anything. So, you know, just basic things like cooking, doing laundry. But a lot of days I'll only have like, you know, 2 or 3 hours in me where I have enough energy to be like functional, and I kind of have to choose like, all right, what am I going to do during those couple of hours that I have out of bed? Every day I try to kind of tackle something different, whether it's something practical like laundry or, you know, practical like Patreon mail. But it's difficult, and it's gotten worse to the point where I'll have quite a few days in a row now where I'm not even able to get out of bed for those few hours, where I'm actually in bed like just all day. And the fatigue is so bad that it's hard for me to move, it's hard for me to get up. And yeah, that's just really difficult. If you feel like I'm a little shaky and a little rushed today, it's actually because I'm dealing with just a lot of stress, because I feel like I have such a limited amount of time to do things. So I apologize. I know that normally I come on here and I'm very calm, and I try to make my voice very soothing, and I try to make it a bit of an escape for you guys just to come join me and craft with me. But to be honest with you, if I'm just being transparent, I'm actually dealing with anxiety over like how long my energy will last today. I tend to have a couple of good days a week. During those days though, I don't have like the full day. So today was a really good day. My pain level was pretty high, but like I had a good amount of energy. So I was like, we're gonna finish Patreon mail, we're gonna get everything packed, we're gonna get, you know, Instagram photos taken and reels done, and, you know, a YouTube video made, and I just went like all in. But if I do seem like a little anxious and shaky, it's actually because I am. I feel like I have such a limited amount of energy to expend and a limited amount of time where I'm like functioning, that I was like, I just have to get everything done today. And if I seem rushed, I just apologize. I find so much joy in connecting with you guys, and I find so much joy in creating and mailing and doing content creation. Like, it fills my soul up, and I just love it. And feeling like I only have a certain amount of time before I crash and I'll be in bed again, it's just making me a little rushed. Even if I seem a little rushed, please know my heart is just so in this, and to be able to film a video again just feels so good. It's not my heart to make these videos in any way seem anxious or not relaxing. But like I said, I have been dealing with a really limited amount of energy that I can expend. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, I have been like updating a little bit more on there. There were 2 tests for lupus that came back positive. So I had to see a rheumatologist. I don't know if I should say thankfully or not thankfully, because I am looking for an answer to this. But those 2 tests don't necessarily have to be conclusive for lupus, even though they were both like positive. So what I had to do was a blood panel of just kind of like all of the autoimmune diseases. It was like a very specific blood panel where they like specifically test for each autoimmune disease. And I did that the other day. The only thing is that it has to be mailed out, and it takes a little while for like the lab to test it and for you to get your results. So I'm kind of in this like waiting phase where I am just, it's like a really kind of bizarre situation to be in, because you don't want bad news. Like nobody wants to hear that they have like lupus, you know what I mean? Nobody wants to hear that they have an autoimmune disease. But at the same time, I've been so sick for so long. It's been like, 4 years where the chronic fatigue has just gotten worse and worse, to the point where I'm, like I said, just bedfast for so many days and just not able to function. That it's like when you reach that certain level of sickness, you're almost hoping for a diagnosis, because you're hoping to find out what's wrong, because if you know what's wrong, then you can get on the right treatment plan, you can go on the right medications, you can be under the right doctor's care. And there's a lot of diseases that are really debilitating without care, but if you're on proper medication and you're kind of controlling them and monitoring them, you can function a lot better, have more energy, have less pain. If it's an autoimmune issue, you can kind of suppress what your body's doing. So yeah, you guys know I'm super honest with you on here. I'm gonna be super honest again. I actually don't know what I'm rooting for. Part of me thinks that being diagnosed with something as severe as that would just be devastating. But there's another part of me that's so tired of being sick that I just want an answer, so I can start medicine and start treatment and start feeling better and, get out of bed and create. I went through a full week where I didn't create at all. I mean, no mail, no journaling. And you guys know journaling is one of the main stress relievers that I have. I pour my heart and soul into my journals, and they really lower my anxiety. They're just such healing things, I feel like, and I wasn't able to journal for over a week because I just barely couldn't move. So that's tough. It's tough when you're going through something and you're kind of not able to do something that replenishes you and restores you. All that to say, there's a part of me that does not want these tests to come back positive, and there's a part of me that does, so I can start feeling better. What I really want to do is just figure out what's going on and be myself again. It's been a long time of just kind of slowly getting sicker, and like I said, that is why I'm just putting a pause on Patreon. But I am hoping that we will get it figured out this summer. I'm hoping that taking some time off will just allow my body to heal and rest. If I start any medication, just kind of adjust to the medicine, and then in September I can start, doing what I love so much again. I'm so sorry for talking your ear off. I should really be going through these so you're not bored and just listening to me talk. But yeah, so I'm right now going to separate the fish pages from the fishing pages. And these are the seashells. These are the color seashells. I will put, I think, a pause on this as I finish wrapping these up, and then I always attach them with a wax seal, so I'll show you guys the finished product. But this does not mean, even though I'm taking a break, that there's going to be a break from Instagram or from YouTube or from journaling or from creating. I'm only pausing Patreon. I'm not pausing anything else. So if you do enjoy my content, you know, please subscribe. I will continue putting out videos. If you follow me on IG, you know, follow. I will not stop posting. I'm just in a slower mode where it might just be once or twice a week instead of like an everyday thing. Really when I'm able to and my body allows me to. And, you know, it'll be a slower pace, but I won't be stopping. So any support of this channel or my Instagram page or my shop where, you know, I've kind of limited what I've been selling, but what I'm selling is still available. All of those things are still active and going on, so any kind of support is extremely appreciated. All right, I am not going to talk your ear off. I'm going to pause it here. I'm going to finish packing these, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Okay guys, I'm back. All of these packs are fully packed with all of the ephemera that I showed you before. Each one, as you can see, I do them very equally. They all have like identical things in them, even though you know, you can't make like the pages like identical. They all have like a duck page, a sandpiper page, you know, 3 old seashell pages with just the black and white illustrations, 3 they're also old but just slightly newer seashell pages, but just things like that. Like I try my best just to make each one, you know, identical to the others, even though it is a grab bag. You don't really know which ones you'll be getting. I tie each with some twine. I use some pretty heavy duty twine just because I like to try to keep all of the pages inside the pocket. I do very simple pockets, but you know, they're always designed and I like to keep them sturdy. I will use a wax seal to kind of seal the twine onto the page, but I always use a little bit of washi in the back just to make sure it is secure. What I normally do now is I will tie all of these, and then I realized I actually didn't have any blue wax seal, but I do have this kind of like greenish gold, and I think that matches really well. And then this is actually a ship in waves, this seal, so I thought that would look really cute to seal the tops. And I just figured I would kind of do any chatting that I needed to do while wrapping these up, so it wasn't any kind of boring content for you guys. I kind of talked a little bit before. Like I said before, I apologize if my voice is a little shaky today or if I feel a little rushed or anxious. There's just a lot going on in my personal life, and I would be lying if I said it didn't have an effect on me or my emotional well-being. I don't really think anybody going through kind of like a stoppage of their life where, you know, they're not really able to do many things anymore wouldn't be feeling that way. I did talk on Instagram a little bit about chronic illness because it's been 3 or 4 years since I've been dealing with the fatigue, but it's been about 20 years since I've dealt with pain, even though this like full body nerve pain is new for me. Severe pain isn't new for me because, as a lot of you guys know, I deal with endometriosis, and also I've had quite a lot of tumors. I've had 3 surgeries relating to both of those issues. So chronic pain has been something I've been dealing with for probably around 20 years of my life, and it's definitely, I've definitely gone through seasons where I have been like bedfast before and I haven't really been able to function or be up and about. This is definitely the worst I think it's ever been, not pain-wise, but just functionality. But it's, unfortunately, chronic illness isn't new. to me. I wish it was, but it's not. I was talking to a friend on Instagram about it a little bit, and that turned into a post just where I was doing a little bit of musing on it. And I don't know, I don't like saying that bad situations are good situations because they're not. I think it's really okay to be honest that a bad situation is a bad situation, and being sick stinks. It's not fun. It's not something you would wish for yourself or anybody else. But I also feel like growth can happen a lot of times in tough situations, and recognizing the growth and sometimes focusing on the growth can actually really kind of keep you sane and in a place of better mental health if you're going through something. I usually get about 2 days a week where I feel kind of normal and I can get out of bed. When those coincide with weekends, it's wonderful because I'm able to get out of the house for the afternoon and just, take a walk in nature, or, walk around a town and do a little exploring. And it's just nice to be out of the apartment and, out of bed. But one thing is that if that's not normal for you, you almost become hyper aware of very small, tiny things and very thankful for them. So something like getting a cup of coffee in a pretty coffee shop, or taking a walk or a small hike and seeing flowers or seeing trees, or sitting by the water. Things that maybe other people might take for granted, who do those kinds of things all the time or see those things all the time, you just kind of become very hyper aware of them and very mindful of them and just very thankful for them. Like, I've noticed from, all of the time that I'm not out of the house, the times when I do get out of the house are just really special. And something as simple as just getting a cup of coffee and sitting and talking with my husband in like a nice, coffee shop atmosphere it's a really big thing. And it's something that I've become very mindful of, just how nice it feels to have, a fresh cup of coffee in your hands, and how nice the ambiance or the aesthetic of the place is, or just how nice it is to be out of bed and to be talking with him. And you just become really, really grateful for small, tiny things. And I can't complain over that aspect of it. I can't complain over an attitude of gratitude, not to sound too cheesy, that's just developed in me. You really become very grateful for very small things. And I don't think that that's a small thing. I think that's a pretty big thing. If you're able to kind of live your life in a way where you're very thankful for things like a good meal, or a walk, or even just a flower. And the other thing is, when you go through a difficult situation, it's really difficult not to grow in empathy. And I don't think that's a bad thing either. I think it's really a lot easier once you've experienced sickness or hardship or pain in any of its forms, not to kind of become more of a sensitive person, a more empathetic person, and find it easier to kind of put yourself in other people's shoes when they're dealing with illness or loss or a hard time or anxiety or depression or whatever it is, just because you know what pain feels like, you know what hardship feels like. And again, I would not wish this on anybody or say that this is a good thing in any way, because it's not a good thing. But I can't complain over having grown in empathy and grown in compassion, grown in patience, and feeling like I can kind of put myself in other people's shoes. I've always been kind of like an empath and like an empathetic person, but even more so. Like, some of us, I think a lot of us that do paper crafting are very empathetic people or very sensitive people. We're people that are very attuned to others. It's just kind of like our personality. But I think there's like an even higher level of it that you can get to when you've experienced something, because you can kind of draw from that experience and then kind of, I don't know, just interact with people from a place of both empathy and experience, if that makes any kind of sense. So I'm going to pause it again just to do these wax seals, and then I will see you guys just to wrap the video up. Hey guys, I'm back. All of the packets are finished now. Like I said, I always do use a wax seal just to kind of seal the twine to make it just a little bit hardier in the mail. But it also looks cute, like cuter when things are done with a wax seal. I'm definitely not somebody that is perfect at wax sealing. I think I'm a little bit of a messier wax sealer, but I also feel like that's kind of how things were in the olden times, that they weren't really perfect looking. They were kind of just a little sloppy. So I don't really mind that I'm not perfect at it. I think it kind of gives a bit of like an authentic vintagey look, especially since I work with mostly vintage goods. So like I said, I'm not too hard on myself that I'm not like the most perfect wax sealer, but I do think the wax seal does add just a cuteness to the package for when people open it, and I really like the ship on the waves. I think that kind of just went along with you know, the nautical theme to these packs. So they are all finished. Yeah, that one's really bad, but hopefully that person won't mind. I do just wanted to say two last things. Even though I am slower right now, I might not be on Instagram every day, and I might not be able to get out a video a week on here. I am somebody that's definitely not a quitter. I am definitely somebody that has been a fighter my whole life. So please don't think that just because I'm going at a slower pace right now, because that's all my body will allow me to do, that I'm going to stop creating. I will definitely still be around, even though that might look different. It might look differently that I am only able to produce a video maybe once every 2 weeks instead of once every week, or be on Instagram maybe once or twice a week instead of every day. But I promise you, I am not somebody that gives up. If I have to take things slower right now, I will, and that's okay. But I'm not going to not be here completely. So for anyone that sticks with me through these health issues and is patient with my slower pace of creating, I just thank you guys so much. Your support, your constant kind words of encouragement and love just means so much to me. The last thing that I wanted to say is, if there's anybody watching who identifies with chronic illness, chronic fatigue, chronic pain, even chronic mental health issues, I've dealt with anxiety and depression almost my whole life. Different things can kind of knock you out at different times in your life. If you are finding yourself in one of those seasons, I think it can be really difficult not to sink into a depression during that time. And I just wanted to share real quick what I've been finding helpful. On the days that I haven't been able to get out of bed, which can sometimes be quite a few in a row, I've really been trying to engage my mind when I haven't been able to engage my body. So I've been watching a lot of YouTube, a lot of crafters who really inspire me and just make me, you know, so excited for when I'm able to get up and craft. I've been watching a lot of things on like anxiety and depression, cognitive restructuring, and like tools for mental health. I feel like learning and growing in that area is always really helpful. Therapy in a Nutshell has been a great channel for me. I find her really interesting and really knowledgeable. I'm really into Myers-Briggs and personality theory. I feel like you can really understand yourself well if you kind of deep dive into personality theory, and Frank James has been a channel that not only I feel like do you learn a lot, but it's hysterical, like it keeps me laughing, and I feel like joy is a really big thing, laughter is a really big thing. And finally, mindfulness, when you can kind of just focus on small things, beautiful things in a very mindful, very peaceful way. And the Cottage Fairy is my favorite channel for that. I feel like she just does things in a very slow, peaceful way, and it just kind of brings my anxiety down and kind of gives me a bit of escapism. So I'll list all of those accounts below just in case anybody is in a similar situation to me. I feel like if I keep my mind learning and engaged, and I feel like I'm growing and in my understanding of myself and how to solve problems and just things like that, it's better than just kind of focusing on like, oh, I can't get out of bed today, but instead like I'm learning and I'm growing today. I'm being inspired by crafters. I'm learning about psychology. So yeah, that's just a tip that I have that's helped me. Maybe it could help you guys. Again, thank you so much for everyone that is sticking with me during this. I can't wait to have an answer. I can't wait to start feeling better, but I will be doing my absolute best in the meantime to continue to bring you guys content whenever I feel able. Energy is fading and I am starting to get a little nauseous and dizzy and sick, so that's where I sign off. I take it one step at a time and I do what I can each day. So sending all of my love to you guys. I hope today finds you well. If it doesn't, I hope that you have moments of peace, joy, and love. And yeah, sending you guys my best. Thumbs up or subscribe if you liked my content. It does help me keep creating and sharing with you guys, especially during a time where making income for myself is difficult. Being able to be supported on social media and content creation is a huge help to me and my family. All right, that's it. I'm done. See you guys. Love ya.